Welcome to H2K Infosys. H2K Infosys is a e-verify business based in Atlanta, Georgia, United States. We provide 100% job-oriented, instructor-led, face-to-face, true live online software training programs. It also includes access to cloud test lab with software tools. We provide live project for you to work on. We also provide assistance with mock interviews, resume preparation and review, and job placement assistance. H2K Infosys is trusted by so many students across the world. H2K Infosys provides world-class services in IT training with real-time project work for corporates and individuals, special IT training for MS students in the United States, software design, development, QA manual and automation, performance testing and maintenance, IT staff augmentation, job placement assistance, and tech support.
Struts framework components. We have already seen about these three components: controller component, view component, and model component. The purpose of controller component is it will just act as a mediator between your model and view. Whenever a user sends a request, it will be received by the action servlet because you are going to configure each and everything, every processing through the action servlet only. And once after that, your action servlet will decide which action to be called based on struts config.xml. Your action class is also part of your controller layer itself. So action servlet and action class both will be part of your controller layer. Model component are used for business logic access, business logic purpose, and also database access purpose. So with respect to our earlier example, you can just forward the request from action class to the login processor, and from then onwards you can call that as a model layer because it will work on the database as well as the business logic within our processor level. View component, it will be used for getting the request from the user, for taking the information from the user, and also it will get the information back from the model and display it to the user. Whenever you are writing the code, your controller and view will be maintained by the framework. That means you are going to extend action class, or you are going to extend action form class for your form being. So that means it is framework dependent. Even for view also, you are supposed to use HTML tag library and bean tag library for displaying the data. But struts won't impose any kind of restrictions on the model layer. Because model, today you are using Hibernate, later you can change to iBatis. Or today you are using the normal processing, tomorrow you can replace that with EJBs. So that's the reason there is no restriction on using the model components. You can choose any kind of model component for your struts framework. Until now we have mentioned about our action servlet. See, until now we have mentioned that our action servlet will perform all the work. What are all the stuff we have mentioned? Your action servlet will convert the URL to action class, and also your action servlet creates an action form and populates the request parameters, and finally it will forward the request to the JSP page. There is one another module, validation module, that will also be performed by our action servlet. Normally, we'll think that everything will be done by the action servlet, but internal logic for the Struts framework, they have divided the work of action servlet with request processor class. Request processor is also another class, but request processor is not elevated for Struts framework. It is just like a helper class for action servlet, but everything will be done by the request processor, which was requested from your action servlet. Your action servlet never does its work on its own. It will take the help from request processor. And request processor consists of several methods, process methods. See, normally this is a servlet class, just like how you have the HTTP servlet and you are extending the HTTP servlet and writing your own servlet. You can still extend action servlet and write your own servlet. No issues with that, and you can still configure the action servlet within, you can still configure your new servlet within your web.xml and you can redirect all the requests. But the problem with the approach is currently your action servlet is not working on its own. It is taking the help from request processor. So the work converting the URL to action class, there is one process method. Action servlet creates action form, one process method available. For all this stuff, there is a separate process method available, and within your doGet method or doPost method, your action servlet will create an instance of request processor and it will ask to perform all this work. So that's the reason you are not supposed to extend action servlet and provide your own implementation. If you still want to perform some user level information, some additional information on your own, you can just implement, you can extend request processor. There is a dummy method available, which is process pre-process method. There is a dummy method, process pre-process method available, and you can override this method. You can just inform to the Struts framework that I have a separate class which extends the request processor. That will be specified by using another tag, controller tag, within your strutsconfig.xml file. See, if you are overriding, that means you are going to get all the methods that are available in request processor, and in addition to that, you will get the information from process pre-process method. Normal inheritance concept. But the reason why we are not supposed to extend action servlet, we have already discussed about that. Action servlet never does its work on your own. So you are not supposed to use this one for your purpose. They have defined several process methods and you can use a dummy method. This method doesn't contain any code in request processor. This is only provided for subclass purpose. Once you have provided or extended request processor and created your own class, you can just configure, you can inform to the Struts framework that I have my own controller class. Controller class which extends request processor. So whatever the class that you are writing, com.test.processor.subprocessor. This subprocessor was supposed to extend request processor, or else it will be going to throw an error. So internal architecture is JSP forwards the request to the action servlet, and action servlet forwards the request to processor, and request to processor identifies the action and calls the action. Once an action method has executed, it will return the find forward, come back to find forward method. See here, execute method was, who has executed this one? This was executed by the framework. So once you are returning the response, it will return back to the framework, nothing but it will return back to the request processor. So request processor will read this value failure, and it will take a look at the struts config.xml file. What is the corresponding JSP page for your failure case? Then it will forward, it will create the request dispatcher object. Request processor, it will create the request dispatcher object, and it will forward the request to user.jsp file. Internally, it will perform whatever the stuff that we are supposed to do or we have done until in our servlet level. So you can see that there are several other methods: process action, process form bean, and process pre-process, which you can override on your own. Take a look at struts tag libraries and make sure to use some of the tag libraries that are available in bean tags. Display header information and cookies information by using struts tag libraries within your JSP page. We have seen about this, and data passing from JSP to action class. We have seen about this classes. You guys are supposed to practice our normal example. You guys are supposed to write 3 action classes. Let me show one diagram. So here at the container level, create 3 actions: login action, register action, employee action. From the JSP pages, you are supposed to pass the request to action class. So that means you are supposed to configure all these 3 actions within your struts config.xml file, and it was supposed to hit these 3 methods and fetch the information and display the data however we have displayed within our H2K Hibernate project. So from the processor, you are not going to change anything, but from your action, you are going to call the processor and forward the data to the processor, and rest of the stuff, it's the same thing. Only thing that you guys supposed to do, write separate action classes, 3 action classes: login action, register action, employee action. And you need to configure struts config.xml, and you need to change the JSP pages to display the information properly. Other than that, no changes with respect to our existing flow. Right side, no changes. Only thing with respect to your controller and with respect to your JSP page. Let me show one more important one. Project, make sure that you are using Log4j framework as well. Let me remove all the different applications. See, when you are creating a Struts project, it will automatically import all the jar files that are required for our Struts application. So here, common annotation, bean utils, all the common related stuff, those are required for our Struts application. Anyway, when you are creating Struts application directly from the Eclipse, it will automatically import all the jar files within your lib folder. One important one is struts.jar, which consists of all your org Apache struts action classes. Let me import. Just a second, let me import my SQL. You just create a struts project, just like how you did a dynamic project. Now I have a request for plugin configuration, right, Jitin? Did you configure the plugin? and Steve. Okay, once you have configured that, then you will get. See here, I have configured the Struts application with respect to log4j, and here you can see that my Struts action has a request received, processor called, Hibernate get method executing, returned back from the DAO, employee details available, password matched, finally success response. So based on looking at the logs itself, you just need to understand what kind of a flow, whether it has success or not, by looking at the log messages itself. So I didn't make any changes to the business logic code. Only thing I have done is writing 3 action classes. Login action class, which will receive the information and pass it on to the login processor. I didn't make any changes to our login processor methods, even for register action as well. Come back to our register page. Give some details. You can see that employee record created successfully with employee ID. So make sure that you are using Hibernate JPA version and incorporate log4j framework and modify or move all your JSP pages to this particular level to this and work on all the 3 different actions. Retrieve data. So our retrieve data I just modified, like we can enter the lower limit and higher limit. So let us say our lower limit is 6,500 and higher limit is 9,500. So you can see that the data was passed dynamically and we are able to retrieve the data from the criteria query. So all the three are based on our Struts action files. So here I have configured log4j. The log4j was used by our Struts application as well. So that means when it is processing, you can see all the log messages that are getting generated from our Struts application as well. Go back to our log4j configuration. So currently, I have set the log level as info. I'm changing this to debug. Debug is the default one. And now let us come back and execute. Now you'll see a lot of log messages that are generated by our Struts framework itself. Let me start the application. Here you can see that some information that got generated by your Struts framework. So you can see that the class name, org, Apache, Struts, util modules, request utils, convert utils, request processor. You can see that it is calling set property method with this value, converting this one, set simple property, looking for action instance, creating new action instance, and after that our log messages. So your Struts application, whatever the code, that's also nothing but a normal Java class files. So they are also using log4j framework, and if you have configured properly the log4j framework, it will propagate to the top level, nothing but your Struts application level, and you can see all the information. You can see all the required information or all the logging information from your Struts application as well. So that's the reason you are supposed to configure log4j with respect to your Struts application. Are you guys able to understand what exactly that you're supposed to perform?
So many of our students have given testimonials on how our training programs are. You will find them on kudzu.com and on our website H2Kinfosys.com. On our website H2Kinfosys.com, you will also find more detailed information on who we are, the courses that we offer, what each course covers. Also, if you're interested in a demo program, please register on our homepage on the left-hand side. Just give us more information about yourself and we will send you a link for a demo class. The demo class is absolutely free. Experience our commitment by just attending an orientation workshop at no cost. Our team of faculty and advisors are here to guide you with the right information. If you still have more questions, please feel free to call us. Call us at 770-777-1269. This is a United States number. If you're calling from the UK, call us at 020-337-17615. You can also email us at training at h2kinfosys.com or h2kinfosys at gmail.com. Thank you for watching our videos. We wish you a great career in information technology.